The humanitarian application, compassionate applications. Humanitarian and compassionate applications are a very rewarding way of getting landed. It means that you're really special, or that the average Canadian believes that you deserve to be shown compassion because of an unusual, undeserved, or disproportionate hardship. It has to be something really unusual to show that you're going to suffer if you're removed to your country. It's not something where it's a risk to life or torture if you're removed to your country. It is a logical reason that you deserve compassion. A very good example of this is China. China has really unusual family planning policy. They have family planning policies for the one-child policy. There are people in China who make about $6,000 a year, and they can get fired and fined $35,000 for having one additional child. If you search the internet, you can find examples of people fined $100,000 for having one extra child. You can also find that that person's co-workers was also fined just because one of their co-workers had an extra child. The main thing that I deal with is unwed mothers from China. What happens is, if you are single and you have a child, it is against the law. You're not allowed to have a child in China unless you're married. And if you do have a child in China and you're not married, you can be fined up to 6 times the disposable income for your province. So even if you're in Canada and you're not married and you have a child, if you're returned to China, you are facing huge fines of approximately equivalent of 140,000 Canadian for one child. Then the fine increases if you've had more than one child. That doesn't mean that any woman who comes to Canada can have a baby and be allowed to stay. Each case is based on its own merits. You have to prove that the law is the law and that there is no changes in the law. You have to prove everything in a humanitarian compassion application. If you say that a family of above quota children is going to be fined, you're going to have to find examples on the internet and everywhere else that proves above quota children parents are fined excessively. Being from a country where unwed mothers are fined and treated and called names on the street, and the child's not allowed to go to school, especially if the mother's been in Canada for 4, 5, 6, 7 years and has settled abroad. If the mother has settled abroad, that child has no right to reside in China. That child will never get Chinese nationality. That child will not be allowed to work, go to school without paying by state-funded schools, unless the mother pays foreign student fees. Any representative would have to find out what the foreign student fees are in China and find out how much it would cost to send a child through elementary, secondary school, and college in China. Meanwhile, the child has no right to reside in China. It is well documented that the Chinese government, the local Chinese government officials, will take a child like this if the mother doesn't pay the fine and have the child adopted out to foreigners in Europe or North or South America for money. And that Chinese government official, communist government official, will pocket the profits. The compassion has to be common sense, something that the average Canadian citizen would believe would be a logical reason to show compassion. Exiting from the highway and seeing some guy with a sign who's about 27 years old, looks very healthy and everything, you know, I need money, give me money. It's not a logical reason to give somebody money if they look like they're healthy enough and they are not deserving of your compassion. The applicant must be deserving of people's compassion. It's only common sense. If it's not common sense to several people, it won't be common sense to the immigration officer. Do not focus on the issues of the refugee claim. The refugee board decides whether a person is a convention refugee or not. the immigration officer decides whether the person is admissible to Canada based on Section 825 or humanitarian compassion applications. For further information, please look at the manuals. Go to cic.gc.ca, search operational manuals, click on inland processing because an HSC application is submitted as based on an inland process. Look up IP5, humanitarian compassionate applications, and read and read and read and understand. Look for examples in federal court legislation. Do your best, but the onus is on you to put forward any HSC factors that you believe exist in your case. Go out, retain a qualified, experienced counsel to assist you. One that cares about your case. One that's going to be willing to spend countless hours dealing with your case. If all else is lost, one that knows how to go to the media, to get the media on your side, to get immigration to reconsider the situation and give you landed status from within Canada. Wishing you all the best. Roy Kellogg, CV Immigration. Thank you.